What's up, guys? I'm back with another movie review, and today I want to talk about Saw X. I just seen it, and wow, that movie was crazy and very unexpected since we're 10 films into this franchise. Like, it was absolutely amazing seeing Tobin Bell come back as Jigsaw. That was one of the best things I could have fucking hoped for in my life. What the fuck are they doing with Jigsaw with Tobin Bell, Big Daddy Tobin fucking Bell, who, you know, he's been old for like 30 years, it seems like. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like he's been old for a long time. I wasn't even sure he was still alive, and all of a sudden, Saw X, Tobin Bell's coming back along with Amanda Shawnee Smith. I was like, what the hell have they been cooking? And wow, it might just be the best of the franchise. And let me explain why. What I really enjoyed about this movie is that they dial back the torture porn aesthetic, where the entire film, like the structure of the film, is entirely out of whack. It's way different than what we expected. I mean, I told my buddy straight up, you know, the first 30 minutes of the movie is all about Tobin Bell, you know, Jigsaw, John Kramer, and you're going to be completely surprised with what happens and like how the movie plays out. I unfortunately got spoiled on the twist, so I was like, well, fuck. You know, that first 30 minutes, I'm sitting there like, all right, come on, you know, let's get to this. But the movie, it really does a nice slow build to what the movie's really trying to say and what's really being talked about here. And so whenever it got down to the nitty gritty of what Saw X is about, I was like, wow, they actually just made me sympathize with John Kramer, Jigsaw. And, you know, that was one of the best things I could have ever hoped for out of all these movies. And, you know, it kind of occurred to me. I was sitting there, you know, while we were walking into the movie, I was like, you know what? That's right. We haven't seen a full, like, you know, Saw movie where it's all about Jigsaw. Like, you get little sprinkles of him in all the movies, you know, that adds to his backstory, and to who he is. Like, you see little sprinkles throughout all these films, you know, 10 films now. So whenever you take a look at, you know, the long filmography, you're like, holy shit, they have never actually fucking sat down and wrote a script all about Jigsaw, because that's what everyone comes to see these movies for. You know what I mean? Everyone comes to see Jigsaw. No one comes to see whoever's the lead of this movie. You know what I mean? I guess Saw 1, you could say people did, but me personally, I've always been there for John Kramer, and I'd like to believe that everyone else is too. You know, the story, and that's kind of the thing I want to talk about today. Is mainly about how all the Saw movies, all of them, they all have this aesthetic. You know, that torture porn, you know, foundation. Besides like one or two of them, I would say the first two. And this one now. So now 3. All of them are, you're kind of just showing up for the traps. You know what I mean? Whoever, like, how gross can they make it? I call that the Terrifier effect now. Because I love Terrifier too. But I am the first one to tell you that Terrifier, those movies are mainly just for, you know, really gross, you know, whatever Damien Leone can gross you out with. That's what you're coming there to see, is what's the next big fucking sequence that he's gonna go crazy with. And Saw was basically that. Like, it was just every year Halloween, you know, you got a new fucking trap that everyone, you know, was gossiping about. They're fucking, oh my god, what is Jigsaw gonna do now? Like, holy shit, it's out in public. Like, that's all I heard about Saw, you know, 3D. So, I mean, there's always one trap. And this year was the eye trap. And what I loved about this movie is that it pulls back away from that, and we're back to story. And that's the one thing I come this, to see the Saw movies for, is the story. And I was absolutely pleased. I feel like the movie was structured in a way to where there was a little bit of dragging, of course. It could have been, tightened up a little bit, but it was endearing. It was an endearing, like, that first 30 minutes was like cinema. Like, it was cinema compared to what like Saw used to be. And if you're a fan of these movies, like every fucking movie, they just went down and down in budget. Like it got soap opera-y, and the budget just got lower and lower, and you could see that. Yeah, the last Saw 7, Saw 3D, the blood looked like fucking Pepto-Bismol. Like, it was really bad. But with this movie, I won't say the traps are in my positives. They are good traps. In particular, the leg trap. That one, my whole theater was like, oh my God. Like, fucking, they were just holding their fucking, like, legs. They were holding their stomachs. They're gripping on their seats. And it was so electrifying for once with a Saw movie. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like my whole theater was like just really loving the film. And it's been a minute in general where I've walked into a horror movie and the audience is like, you know what I mean? Like, just fucking absolutely in awe of what's going on. Like, people really underestimate that element of the audience. And this movie, it knew exactly who the hell is showing up to this movie. And I'm so thankful that, Kevin Groeder, the director, I got to give him props. He had Saw 6. It was really good. Saw 7, he got a bomber. He got a stinker. But he's back. They gave it to Legacy director. And, they even got, what is it? Charlie Zepp? What, Charlie Clouser? I think that's his name. The composer, they got him back, which I love seeing, loyalty in the industry. They got people that have done the Saw movies for a long time to come back and make a good one. And, if this is it, holy shit. They ended the franchise on a banger, but they're not going to let that lie. The word of mouth of this movie was fucking, it's amazing. A lot of people are really liking this movie, and I'm glad they are. One of the bigger things is that you actually have someone who I don't want to get into spoilers too much, but you actually have someone who is a foil, an actual arch nemesis enemy to John Kramer, who is as smart as he is, which I thought was fucking like, how John Kramer in all of these movies, like, he's just some big he's like Thrawn in fucking Star Wars. He just thinks like 20,000 years ahead, and he's just smarter. He's just better. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what Jigsaw is. But in this movie, you actually see someone actually outsmart him for once, and I was like, holy shit, finally. Like, and what I really liked about the traps is that they're kind of primitive compared to like the later films. Like, they're kind of in that early stage that John Kramer was in, where he was designing the traps, where they were kind of like low maintenance, low thought put into it. I'm not saying that, the traps were low thought. I'm not trying to discredit any of the artists who worked on it on those early films, but they're primitive, they're early traps, not a lot of budget. So in this movie, kind of the same deal. You get kind of primitive traps, and I was really surprised that they went that way. But when you take in context of where this film places in the timeline of the films, which is between Saw 1 and 2, I was like, wow, this is not the traps I was expecting in terms of the sophisticated, really, high budget traps. It's rather tame, I would say. However, I thought that the gore and the execution of the traps were really well done. Like the sound design in some of these traps were really good in the theater. Like the sound design was making even me, you know, a big horror fan, like grip, you know, I was starting to grip my drink. I was like, oh shit, you know, god damn it, Tobin and Groiter back at it again. You know, I started getting that little anxiety going. There was like this nice little like ticking clock in one of the sequences, and all you heard was dee 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 dee, like as the score, like the music, people screaming, you know, like. But above all that, you heard that fucking tick, and I was like, god damn, they're fucking getting me. They're getting me here. Like I was starting to get the anxiety going. I was like, I ain't felt this in a while. You gotta calm down a little bit. And I was, for once, like in the theater, I was like, damn, man, I don't know if I could sit through another one of these fucking traps, man, because it just seemed like they kept getting worse and worse. Like I would not want to be in that situation, you know what I mean? But yeah, the traps are really good. They are primitive, but compared to what we've seen, they're very primitive. However, I do think that the traps are really well done, and I think the directing and the music, and I think everyone came with their A game. You know what I mean? By the way, the acting in this movie from Tobin Bell, damn near Oscar worthy. Damn near. I mean, like, it was incredible seeing Tobin Bell up on that big screen again, giving probably his best fucking performance as Jigsaw. It was incredible. Like, if you're a fan of this movie or these films, it's a must watch. However, I do have one or two mixed, maybe negatives. I do think that the ending twist doesn't exactly work for me. I think that it's a little bit too big-brained for Jigsaw. And I can't really give too much else without spoiling the movie, but I feel like it's one of those things where you either get it or you don't. Like, for me, I didn't get it. Like, how he managed to figure it out, you know? How he got it, how he fucking weaseled himself out of this one. And I was like, oh, man. I don't know if that works. I don't know. It's kind of big-brainy. It's kind of thrawny. I don't know. And, you know, I don't know. Just go and see the movie and come back, you know, to the channel and, you know, let me know what you thought. Because I was a little bit, I don't know if that works for me. In terms of the last twist, you know what I mean? Like how all of this kind of comes together. I don't know if that works. And the other one, I feel like that Shawnee, as much as they tried to de-age her in any way, like Tobin Bell, he looks perfect. Like he looks like he's, you know, Saw 1 and 2 era, because he's always been old. You know what I mean? In these movies, he's always been like damn 60. So he's always looked, you know, that age. But then you get to here with Shawnee, and unfortunately, you can tell it. Like it's almost like they didn't even try. They gave her a wig, which it looks fucking awful. I was surprised that they, you know, didn't try as hard on her, because, and you know, no disrespect to the actress, you know, ages is, it's one of those things you can't hide. We're all gonna age. We all get old or older. They should have been like, yo, Shawnee, you know, let's de-age you, you know, with CGI or something. Which I'm not a fan of. My family members and my friends know this. If they're watching, they'll be sitting there at their computer or on their phone, like, yep, he's told me this time and time again. I hate CGI de-aging. I really do. I think it all looks like shit. It all looks really glossy and weird. And, you know, Star Wars, The Irishman, all of the examples that you could throw at me, I think they all look bad. Besides The Mandalorian with Luke Skywalker. But even that was kind of a little bit like, all right, it's getting a little bit too good, which is kind of what you want, but I don't know. I just don't like the idea of it. Here, it's like some sequences, like the way they light her with the lights, some parts you're like, all right, that's Amanda from Saw 2 or Saw 1, or not Saw 1, but Saw 2 or 3. And then there's some parts where she looks like 40 years older. Not even kidding. Like it's like shooting a new Terminator movie with Sarah Hamilton, and she's running, like, we're supposed to believe that she's 20 when she's obviously 60. You know what I mean? I feel like it was kind of an Irishman moment where you could tell the actor was clearly older than what time frame she's supposed to be. And it's glaring, like I know that I've been rambling on it for a few minutes, but I just thought that you guys should know that going into the movie, that I do think that the way they try to de-age her is going to pull some of you out if you're a fan of these movies. But on the flip side of that, I do think that you will walk away from this movie overall really liking it. There's no reason, like, there is not one sequence in this movie where it's like that's kind of the problem I had with Halloween, was you'd be watching it and all of a sudden something smacks you in the damn face and you're like, what the hell was that? And then all of a sudden it just resumes back into normal, scheduled programming. You're sitting there like, what the fuck was that? Like with the Doctor twist in 2018. You don't have any moments like that here. It feels very much like a Saw movie, and that's the one thing I was really, kind of scared about, but thankfully feels just like a Saw movie, except it's a lot more character focused, and I think a lot of people are going to like this one. So anyways, hopefully that, you guys get a little bit of my thoughts. Hopefully you guys enjoy this review. Please let me know if you want me to do more, and recommend a movie that you want me to see. I'll do a little review, and I love you guys to death. I'll catch you guys in the next one.